20 lessons I've learned from playing the guitar for over 20 years, shared in under 20 minutes. It'll be under 20 minutes. All right, let's go. Timer starts now. Number 1, it takes time to get good at the guitar. There are no shortcuts. If there were shortcuts, people would be selling them to you and they'd be making a bajillion dollars. Because most people will tell you they want to play the guitar or play the piano or play whatever instrument, but they don't want to put the time in. They don't want to put the effort in, because even though it's called playing music, it's still work. It still requires energy, effort, consistent practice, dedication, setting aside the time to do it. There's no other way to do it other than to do it. So if you want to get good at the guitar, it takes time. Number 2, good technique is the foundation for good playing. Let's think about a house for a second. You pour the foundation first, and you have to make sure the foundation is strong and stable so you can then build the rest of the house. If you have a sloppy foundation, chances are you're not going to be able to build as sturdy of a house. Same thing goes with playing the guitar. If you have sloppy technique, you're not going to be able to play the way you want to play. And before we go off into our own guitar odysseys, there are things we all have to learn. How do you hold the pick if you're using a pick? How do you play fingerstyle? How do you keep your fretting hand? How do you bar chords? How do you keep your fingers? How do you play on your fingertips? How do you move around the fretboard? How do you string skip? How do you alternate pick? There are all kinds of little things that if you feel like your technique is not where you want it to be, that's okay. You can get better at it. Even though you might be 5, 10, 20 years into your playing, you can still get better at it. I can tell you from firsthand experience. But it's one of those things, like the more technique you have, the more good technique you have, the easier it is to play what you want to play down the road. Number 3, you've heard it before, you're going to hear it again and again and again, and that is consistency. When I teach young students, or any students for that matter, but I've taught a lot of kids in my time as a teacher, the goal isn't to have them play for 5 hours a day on a Saturday. That's insane. The goal is to have them play for 15 to 20 minutes a day, 4 times a week. And that usually does the trick for what we're working on. If you have more complicated stuff, you might need more time, but generally speaking, small chunks over time beat the one big chunk every week or 2. So if you're struggling with your playing, try to get more consistent. You're practicing once a week, try to get twice a week. You have 2 times a week, try to get 3 times a week. You don't have to be like training like an Olympic athlete, but you do want to build consistency for a number of reasons, but the main one just being that you're gonna end up getting better in the long run. Okay, number 4. I have it as learn songs, and I believe that. You should learn songs if you're playing the guitar. If you're playing rock guitar in particular, it's a song-based genre. But I'm gonna go a step further with that and say finish the songs you learn. So many of us don't finish the song. This might be a point later on in the video, but we're gonna just keep going. Learn songs and finish songs, because by learning songs, you'll learn a lot of skills at once that will transfer onto the next thing. So learn, you get ear training, you get different techniques, you get recognizing chord progressions. There are all kinds of benefits to learning songs, and it's fun. Like, it's so fun to play along with your favorite songs. What's more fun than playing along with the songs that you love? Very, very few things. All right, number 5. This one's very near and dear to me, and something that I can speak on from experience on both sides. Find a teacher, ideally in person, but if there's no one in your area that works out for your schedule or that you like, online does work. There's a lot to be gained online, more to be gained in person, but plenty to be learned online. And I'm happy to help you out with that. Drop a line. So why do I say find a teacher? Can you teach yourself? Yes, of course you can. But having a teacher just makes it so much easier to learn, because they've done so much of the work and they can just point you in the right direction. I also find that when I have a teacher, I make a lot more progress than I do when I'm just kind of off doing my own thing. So no matter where you are, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, advanced player, finding someone that can provide feedback for you is really, really valuable. Number 6. This is kind of a two-parter. figure out why you like the music you like. Is it the sound of it? Is it the chords that they use? Is it something else? Is it the attitude? Is it the lyrics? Figure out what's going on there that you like, and then incorporate it into your own playing. This is part of what it means to phrase. Like, how do you phrase something? Like, figure out what you like and you do that. And in order to do that, you gotta sit there and be like, well, why do I like this? What are they doing that I like? And then you take that and you put it into your own playing. Number 7, not everything that you're doing is an exercise, especially when it comes to songs. The point of learning the song is not to learn it to go on to the next song. It's an end in and of itself. If you learn the solo, you can now play that solo. If you learn the song, you can now play that song. And while those skills will transfer, that's not the point. So there are things that are exercises. Spider walks are exercises. Playing scales are exercises. Arpeggios are exercises. They can also be used in solos and stuff, so can scales. But generally speaking, those are exercises. Hammer-on pull-off exercises. You're not gonna play an entire thing with hammer-ons and pull-offs. You're gonna have some other things going on in there. But when you isolate stuff, you can only play it in isolation. So when you think about something in the context of the whole thing, you can play it better that way. And I hope this makes sense, but really it comes down to treat the song or the solo for what it is, and you will see those skills transfer without any effort beyond what you already did to play them. All right, I might have a scratch on my head because I just gave my head an itch. So number 8, this is an obvious one, but still worth mentioning because it's surprising how little people do this these days. Listen to music. I have a number of students who don't listen to music, and I don't know why they play guitar. Keith Richards has a quote where he says, "If you don't know the blues, there's no point in playing rock and roll." And I agree with that. As a blues guitar player, as a rock guitar player, yes, they go hand in hand. But if you're a musician and you're not listening to music, I don't know what you're doing or why you're doing it, because it's an art form that is so call and responsey. Like, let's go talk about the Beatles for a second. The Beatles and the Beach Boys, the Beatles and Brian Wilson, really, were very competitive. That, you know, one of them heard them do something and then they responded with something else. And that happens all the time in music, and both in terms of what you're doing. You hear something, you want to go play it. If you're not hearing stuff, how do you know what you want to go play? So listen to music, listen to a wide variety of it, figure out why you don't like stuff too. That's another thing we didn't talk about. But don't skimp on the music. We live in a world where there's so many videos and podcasts, but music is so important and so enriching. All right, number 9. This is for anybody who's working on reading music on the guitar. It's freaking hard. It is so hard to read on the guitar for many, many reasons, but it boils down to the way the instrument is laid out is not reading friendly in many, many contexts. Contexts? Contexts. It's a hard word to say. Point is, if you're playing piano, it's a simple instrument to read on. I'm not saying it's simple to play, but it's designed to read the music and then play the music. The guitar isn't, and so if you're trying to read and you find it difficult, you're not alone. Take it slowly, be patient, you'll get there. I'm still working on it, and it's one of the hardest things I have to do. All right, number 10. Play what you want to play. If you want to play the blues, play the blues. If you want to play bebop, play bebop. If you want to play thrash metal, play thrash metal. You do need to have the foundations, as we talked about, good technique in point number 2, but you don't need to play what other people are telling you to play unless you want to play that style. But it's okay if you don't. You're never going to get to play in every single genre. I will never be able to play flamenco guitar for many reasons. I love it, but I just won't get to do that, and I have to live with that grief. But that's okay. If I love playing the blues, I love what I play. That's fine. But if you're someone who thinks, I gotta play this complicated stuff to get better, no, you don't. You don't have to do that. You can get really, really good playing what you like, as long as you give yourself a progressing slope. All right, Number 11, do the opposite of what I'm doing right now. Stand up. When you stand up and play, the guitar moves from being here and your shoulders back here to being much more centered, which changes how you play. That's why you can also use a stool to kind of mitigate that or to imitate that, a footstool. But if you want to gig, if your goal is to be a gigging musician, then you have to play standing up. And you're also going to find that it changes how you play and how you practice. And it's just good because we sit so much of the time that anytime you can stand up for a bit, do it. It's also good for your brain to have you play things in different positions. I was practicing earlier today and I was doing like little knee bends while I was standing, and you know what? It worked. It just made a little difference in my approach. So stand up and it will change. You'll see, it'll open your eyes in a way that you did not know they were even closed. Number 12, music theory. Learn it. You don't have to learn the whole book, but you want to know the basics so you can talk about music more fluently and you can learn stuff faster. The basics. Know what the major scale is. Know what the chords are, meaning the 1 chord, the 2 chord, the 3 chord. Know which ones are major, which ones are minor. Know the difference between major and minor. Know your pentatonic scales. You don't have to get down and dirty with the modes and stuff. You can, but you don't have to. As long as you have a basic foundation of chords, major scale and minor scale, pentatonics, the difference between major and minor, you will be fine. But if you don't have that, it makes it a lot harder to learn anything because you have to start over every single time. And also the guitar, you can rely on tabs forever, but you're gonna be missing out on so much. And the language of music is not fret numbers. The language of music is 1, 3, 5, 7, intervals, major, minor, 13, flat 13, that stuff. That's the language of music. Okay, number 13, this is a tough one. You are not your idols. I am not my idols. I cannot play guitar the way that John Mayer plays guitar. I cannot sing and write songs the way that Paul McCartney sings and writes songs. As much as I try, I will never be them. And there's many lessons in here, but the 2 big ones I want to talk about are it's okay to not be them. They're already out there. You don't have to be them. And you're going to learn differently than they did. You hear these stories of people from and you hear like how they practice and how they approach things and what happened to them. We live in a different time. Like even from when John Mayer was starting out, it's a very different world in terms of distraction, in terms of visibility, in terms of a lot of stuff. Never mind Paul McCartney, what a whole different world he's from. But the point is, we want to embrace the you, we want to embrace ourselves, the you-ness of you. Okay, for the electric guitar players, number 14, if you don't play plugged in, change that. Plug in. It changes how you play the guitar. Because the electric guitar is so reliant on the amplifier to, amplify, you're missing out on a lot of stuff if you're not playing plugged in, even once in a while. Like, the sustain of the amp is so much better than the sustain of your guitar. The sustain of, you get the reverb, I already said sustain, you get better reverb, you get better action with your hammer-ons and pull-offs. If you're working on harmonics, you get that much better too. Everything just comes in with a lot more clarity, and you want that. You don't want to be someone who only plays unplugged and then plays plugged in, for a gig or whatever. You're going to be like, oh, I don't like how I sound. You have to play plugged in so you can really hear how you sound on that instrument. Get a headphone amp if you need to. Fender makes a good one. Number 15. Like anything else, you're gonna hit a plateau. You're going along, you're making great progress, and all of a sudden you're stuck. Changing chords is hard. Bar chords are hard. Whatever is hard. And then after you practice, you consistently practice, whoop, the plateau ends. I don't know why, but it's just how it goes. There's just these stairs that you have to climb, and you might be on a step for a while, and that's okay. You will get through it, I promise, as long as you keep practicing. Number 16. This one's near and dear to me too, and it kind of goes back to number 11. Take care of your body. We're told, we'll sleep, you can sleep when you're dead. No, if you don't sleep, you will die. Like, you have to sleep. You really should get some movement in your day if you can. Get outside, get some sunlight. These simple things that we have just put off into other parts of our lives because we spend so much time inside sitting on computers that we don't think about. And when you're playing guitar, you're putting your body into weird positions, so stretching really helps before you play, after you play. Find some exercises that you like, whether it's yoga, whether it's lifting, whether it's swimming, running, biking, rock climbing, whatever it is, add that to your life. You're not taking away from your practice time by doing that. You're actually supporting yourself as a musician, as a human, by adding exercise and movement and taking care of yourself and drinking enough water. All these things, they matter. Because when you feel better, you play better. When you play better, you have more fun. Okay, we're in the home stretch now. Number 17, eliminate friction. When you're starting, there's a whole series, there's a whole theory behind this that I'm not gonna get into, but basically, when you wanna improve a habit, make it easier to do it. So with playing the guitar, set aside time in the morning before you go to work if you can, to play. Set aside time in the evening, after dinner, before you go on your computer or go watch TV, play guitar for 10 minutes. Keep the guitar visible if you can, that helps a lot too. And make sure the guitar is playing well, because if it's not, you're not going to play it. So you want to make it as easy as possible to practice. That's it. And that works with just about everything, whether it's playing guitar, exercise, eating healthier. There's no shortage of ways to eliminate friction, and you will see improvements if you do so. As for me, my guitar lives in a case, but the case is right there. So I just grab the case and off I go. If your guitar's in the back of the closet, you're not gonna play the guitar. All right, number 18, go at your own pace. Going back to not being your idols, you know, everybody's different. Everybody has things that they are naturally good at and things that they need more work on. But you can learn anything. It's a growth mindset. If you can learn music, you can learn anything. Like I promise, that is a huge transferable skill. But it's gonna take time, and it's gonna take we're all on our own boats. We're on our own little boats next to each other, and we know sometimes you row faster, sometimes you row slower, but that's okay. We're not here to race to the top. We're on a flat surface of water. Where is the top? You got your whole life to do this. So don't kill yourself if you're not making the progress you want to make. You can make little changes to your day to see more improvements, but you can still only do so much in a day. I've spent my whole life rushing. I'm working on not rushing so much. All right, number 19, also a two-parter, kind of. Have goals. You know, you still want to have objective goals to hit, even if you're going at your own pace, even if you are taking things a little bit slower, even if it's a little more challenging, you still have to have some kind of finish line. You still have to finish the songs, finish the solo. And then once you finish that, add the next thing. You don't have to, you don't have to have it be like, I need to learn the entirety of Jimi Hendrix's Machine Gun tomorrow. That'd be a tall order. But you do want to have it be like, I want to learn the first 8 bars of this solo in the next 2 weeks or the next week, whatever it is. Set it up for you and go with that. And once you hit that goal, then add a new one. Don't keep changing the goal until you finish, because that's just gonna be like, I'm rambling a little bit. Don't keep changing the goal, because you're never gonna finish it, and you're gonna have a bunch of fragments, and we don't want that. We don't want the fragments, we want completed things. And then number 20, have fun. It's called playing music. Yes, it does involve work and energy and effort and frustration and time and even pain. Your fingers are gonna hurt, your wrists are gonna get tired, but it's still supposed to be fun. Playing music is such a joyous and enriching activity that if it's not fun, you're doing something wrong. Because even when it's challenging, it's still fun because you get to see the progress. Even when you're not making the progress you wish you were, you can still look back and be like, wow, look how far I've come. And it's fun to do that. So keep it fun. Listening to music is also fun. Like keep it fun, keep it fresh. It's not supposed to be a slog. Yes, there'll be times where it will be, but generally speaking, We're here to have a good time. So that was 19 minutes and 55 seconds, give or take. I hope that you found some of these tips helpful, and I'll be back again real soon with who knows what. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again real soon. Cheers.